you know it is the Bitcoin Hour with your host, Joe Blackburn, here on WBTC, where Bitcoin lives, Bitcoin Radio, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well as we lead up to the Christmas day, Christmas season. I watched a bunch of news today for the first time, folks. And I'm like, okay, so there's so many people that I know that like do like SEO, or that they've made social media part of their, their working habits, their job in general, or whatever it might be. Social media is encompassed in our entire existence at this point. This is how you connect, this is how you reach people, it's how you operate, it's how you advertise, it's how you make friends. Sometimes it's how you make, a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Or I know people who got married because they met on social media. Used to be a joke back in the day. Make sure your relationship's on Facebook. It's Facebook official. I guess it's still kind of a joke, but the social media world has, for the most part, evolved from those early days. And today I was watching the news, okay? And in the span of like 15 minutes, they referenced probably 40 different Twitter accounts as like sources. It's a very different day we live in. And something else, that I recognize is that if you're an SEO person, if you can somehow incorporate the word Donald Trump, the Don, whatever you want to say, President Trump, into your title, someone's going to click on your article. So maybe I should do that. That's what we're going to do from now on. If you ever see a post, or if you see a title of a show called Donald Trump, you know what I'm doing. I bet you're going to listen to it. You'll at least click on it. We need to try that experiment out. Maybe that's what's going to happen here. We'll call this episode the Donald Trump episode. The power of social media, the power of controversy, the power of trolling is at an all-time high. It still matters. People still take it very seriously. But oftentimes the people saying it are literally making fun of you, right? And I'm guilty as every single person listening to this, as every person who's not listening to this. I will absolutely bite on those things. And where I think it's relevant to what I want to talk about a little bit today is that I've spent a lot of time in the crypto social media world. It's my job. I do that for a living, literally, is I watch what people are doing and listen and respond and even engage, right? I create my own content in the form of posts and thoughts, and now that has transformed into me doing, a podcast show, etc. But I recognize that we have this just indescribable different perspective and expectations for companies. There is no company that can start up that has a shot with the crypto public. And if that doesn't change people, you are killing this space. You cannot be the Donald Trump knee-jerk reaction type of individual. In fact, I think that we consider ourselves in the crypto space very enlightened. I think what we find ourselves to be awake, at least for the perspective of what is reasonably the future of transactions, and that is the blockchain. Now, with that being said, you've got to kind of grow up. I mean, look, I've been the first to admit I've made, incredibly stupid decisions at different times with my Bitcoin. I've believed in projects. I saw and was witness to the great run of 2017, and it gave me a very high level expectations for what any purchase of mine might turn into as far as my Bitcoin went. And now I can sit here and say I have terrible expectations about any of the purchases I make towards altcoins or cryptocurrencies in a long-term fashion. And that doesn't mean that either one of those things was actually true. Obviously 2017, yes, we saw things go down, but I left 2017 up, right? I still left 2017 up. I know that not everybody can say that, but I still did personally. Not much. I mean, it definitely came back down to earth. But 2018 taught me, maybe it'll go back up, right? And to not believe in hope and dreams. I do have very bullish expectations, obviously, for the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space. But 2019 gave us some hope, and that's okay. Hope is good, especially if Bitcoin. We're about to leave this year. I imagine that we're going to stay 100%, up from the low. But folks, your expectations in 2020, they have to become realistic, not pessimistic, not optimistic, realistic. So very different words. Now, you can say, oh, it is realistic to expect ICOs to fail. What time period are you talking about today? And are you the reason why people find it to be really a negative space at this point. I I really want kind of a reset button. I want to be able to anticipate that some companies will make it. And some companies will make it, for the record, folks. That's not a hope. Some companies will make it, just like, Netflix, right? I bet people thought they were crazy when they first came out. You're going to get everybody in the world to actually download an app and watch a movie off of what? Off of this? What? How are you going to do that? Nobody's ever going to buy into Netflix. No one's ever going to pay that $10 a month. Man, I'll just go to Blockbuster. Why would I need an app? Man, that's a lot of money. I'm not paying that. Well, guess what? I remember sending DVDs into Netflix. I don't know about y'all, but that transformed the way people did business. The blockchain is revolutionary. And I sit here on the cusp of getting a little bit aggravated with, reading people automatically assuming things are not going to work out. Folks, don't be the reason why this space can't work. Not the companies, you. And, there's not everybody listening to this is the reason. Most people keep their mouth shut, honestly, right? I mean, the majority of us are not sitting around trolling. But there's this distinct toxic, expectations from the community. And I was just talking to Amanda Schmignon. I want to give her a big shout out, everybody. Amanda just elevated herself into a position sitting next to myself and Ben Barlow and other admins in CCT. We brought her on. She is now an official administrator for the Crypto Coin Trader Facebook group. Obviously, I'm very proud to consider her a friend. And as I noted in my introductory post to her on CCT for the community to read, there's a lot of great things that many people will say about Amanda, but my favorite thing about her is that she makes the space better every day that she's in it. And the space is better because she's in it. I'm proud to be considered, a friend of hers, and I expect that to maintain, obviously, but I can't wait to see what she does next. It's an honor, Amanda. I'm sure you'll listen to this at some point. Might be next year, which next year is only a few weeks away, so I can tolerate that. But getting to the point, surrounding yourself with good traders is great. And I have plenty of good trading friends. I get advice from them. I learn from them. I listen. But, trading isn't my favorite thing to do on earth. A lot of people are really money hungry, and that's a significant beacon of success. It's also the measurement of success is how much money did they make today. And that's okay. I mean, to each their own. I personally believe that the trading environment is causing expectations that we'll never be able to obtain those expectations unless you're in at the right moment at the right time and you haven't lost your money yet. So a lot of these new people coming in, I really, really, really want them to see the Bitcoin culture as Bitcoin culture first, not as the cryptocurrency culture, because Bitcoin culture is so much more healthier and so much more realistic. Nobody, even Bitcoiners, maximalists, they didn't expect, probably were like, this is bad. They probably knew this at the moment that it went to 20K. I'm sure they were excited, but they were probably like, this is not going to last. This is impossible. And, the Bitcoin culture is what should drive crypto culture. Bitcoin has been the standard and it's been the king for some time. And we're subjected to the media's interpretation, whether that be in crypto media or outside of crypto media, of what things are. And we are taking opinions of people that you probably disagree with fundamentally in many different ways anyways, as to be the way that the culture of this space is plain and simple. That's the way it is. And that's not true. Because I can go have a conversation on a significant topic with 15 different people and get 15 different opinions and levels of how severe or significant they think a moment in crypto might have been. Take a hack. I remember when Cryptopia, and this is a great one because, although Cryptopia never had the best reputation, they were often a go-to for many people. I've never heard anybody say, that, I mean, I'm not exonerating them or calling them innocent in the space, but I've never really heard Cryptopia be accused of just malicious or criminal activity. I'm not saying they haven't. Maybe you haven't experienced. I'm just saying this never was on my radar at the time. This is before their hack, and the Cryptopia communities, there was a lot of people. I mean, it was a New Zealand company. And a lot of Aussies and Kiwis were supporting that exchange specifically. And I never had anything against them. I thought that they did a relatively good job. A lot of people would list their coins on them. There's every one sat coin in the world used to be on that exchange. And then they got hacked, right? And then when they got hacked, I talked to, and I bring up the reason why, like my thoughts. I was pretty much impartial. I really didn't have an opinion on Cryptopia. It wasn't a top tier exchange, but it wasn't literally the worst exchange on earth either. I mean, I used it if it was convenient. When Cryptopia got hacked, I had people telling me that this is literally is the worst thing that could have happened in crypto at that point, just because there were so many people in like Australia and New Zealand, and the Australians Australia has been a pretty big proponent. They've allowed cryptocurrency and blockchain to be pretty public and have a significant part, as much as they've been able to in their culture and in their government. And, to give the Australian and the New Zealand citizens a front row seat, if they weren't in crypto already, they were getting a front row seat to, a big scam at that point, a big hack, a reason why crypto shouldn't exist. And, it was everything that, some people thought was the worst thing in the world for the space at the time, just for adoption and for people to take it seriously. That made sense. I heard that from somebody. He was an Australian. And I listened to him. I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Then I talked to somebody else, like, dude, everybody knew that Cryptopia was kind of a jankety exchange. Like, it's not. I mean, are you really surprised, Joe? And I'm like, that makes sense too, right? Obviously, I have my own opinions at this point, and I may be embellishing a little bit about the actual conversations, but I think it gets the point across, right? Depending on who you are, what's important to you as an individual, why you might have a certain, level of respect or have no respect for whether it be a company, a person, an individual, a exchange, whatever. It's all relative to what's important to you. Just like politics, just like religion, just like everything else in this whole world, if you're born into a area and people in that area do something, you're more than likely going to at least find that thing more relevant than what somebody else across the world who you've never talked to finds relevant to them. There's nothing wrong with that. That's called culture. That's called realistic opportunities or relevancy or whatever you want to put into that box. Folks, it's okay to disagree on things because some things are going to matter more for you than somebody else. That doesn't make them wrong. That doesn't make you right. It doesn't make you wrong, and it doesn't make them right. Doesn't this make sense? Now, the reason why I'm saying this, I was watching the news. Donald Trump. Immediately, everybody clicked on the link. That's why we're going to name this episode Donald Trump. And this episode has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It just literally is because Donald Trump will 100% get me more clicks just by naming the title of the episode Donald Trump. And it's irrelevant. Donald Trump has nothing to do with this episode. So we're going to name it Donald Trump. What are you doing to help this toxic environment, though? What are you doing to change the culture? How are you... I mean, does it actually... And I'm asking you this question. Please respond back to me. I'd love to hear your perspective. Does it matter to you what other people are saying or doing with the space? Like, do you think it's just going to eventually work out? Or are you feeling this toxic and negative undertone that, that's just... It's just this current that's pulling the negativity out, and I've always found the word undertow, especially in this context, to be really, really interesting in the way that it's used. And you have a culture that it's just pulling you into it. And this isn't only with crypto, for the record, folks. I mean, this is in a lot of different environments. But because crypto mixes politics, mixes a little bit of religion, mixes a little bit of money, right? A lot of bit of money. I mean, it becomes like the ultimate, fire pit, right? Don't step in unless you're ready to get burned. And it's a difficult place to make it. It's a very difficult place to come and build a respectable name for yourself. I mean, I faced my own adversities and I'm proud to have faced them, but I would love to be able to go and fix those things and not have to face those things and been perfect. Of course, that's not possible. I'm a human being. FFS, right? I mean, we're all humans. We're all going to make mistakes, and we all shouldn't be judged or be held accountable forever. And I'm not talking about me here. I'm talking about certain people that are trying to do the right thing. If they've genuinely changed, right? Now, call a spade a spade. If they're trash, if they're a scammer, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to call them out either. This space deserves the freedom of speech and the not deserves the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is especially as an American, I feel this way, but it's a right you're born with. Like that, you can't remove that from somebody. If you do, that's a human, it's a human rights violation and issue. People should be able to think freely. I also think people should be accountable for their free thoughts. If you're going to say them, there's a way to do that respectfully. If you want to get up and yell and tell people that you hate them and whatever, well, I disagree with you, and I should be able to, to defend myself if I feel if I feel threatened, or if you're slandering my name. And if you're going around slandering somebody, and this has nothing to do with me, again, this is actually something that's relevant. If you're going around slandering a company that you literally have a very minimal, amounts of knowledge about, if you just assume that they're a scam because you remember something similar or that you heard something else from somebody, it's your damn responsibility, folks, to make sure what you say is true. It's your responsibility. It's not my responsibility to make sure what you said is true. The burden of proof is on the accuser, right? And I mean, and I'm not trying to get legal there. That I know that can also be relevant at times, but you need to prove your point. You can't just sit up there and yell scam or best project ever and not have a reasoned and a honest, backstory for this. Like, did you actually do any due diligence? Did you actually go and research what's going on here? And over the last 2.5 years, I have found like the formula that I've been using the most is credibility. Are these projects credible? That doesn't make them for sure. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen or that you're going to make any money. But people with credibility have typically worked hard for that credibility. To lose credibility, now if you have no credibility, your credibility doesn't matter. It's not a valued item. And if you have it, it is the most incredible value. It's the most incredible value you can have. And there are companies that have credibility, folks, that have earned credibility before crypto, that have earned credibility while in crypto, and will continue to earn and respect their own credibility along with many others in the space. There are credible factors making this space better. But can you, for 1 second, sit back and say, I've given that company a chance? Why? Because you've been burned? Okay, that's great. That doesn't mean they're a scam, bro. Like, come on. Just because you won't buy them does not make them an effing scam. It does not mean that they're bad. And it doesn't mean that you need to dissuade somebody from buying or for buying. Like, it's our responsibility to have honest, genuine, and accountable conversations with one another. When you're not accountable for your actions or what you say, you can say whatever the hell you want and it doesn't matter. But guess what? This space is still very small. And what you say does matter because there's a lot of people paying attention, more than you will ever know. And they're using every stupid thing you say against crypto. So whether you're calling something a scam to protect people, which might be the case, that honestly might be your intent. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. I just want to make sure that whether you're trying to get somebody to buy something or whether you're trying to get somebody to understand that this is a scam, you have an opinion for a reason. You're either a narcissist and you're trying to make sure everybody knows that you're the smartest person ever on planet Earth, or, you're just a troll having fun on the internet, or 3, you might just get, a little triggered because someone said something and now you're in a conversation. Now you made it your vendetta to let this person know, oh, I'm going to destroy your conversation. I'm going to destroy this argument. I'm going to make sure you realize and everybody else realizes this is a scam. I mean, I've been that person too, right? I've been all 3 of those people to some extent, one way or the next. I'm not perfect, and something on the internet has intrigued me, whether it was in crypto or outside of crypto, to have that sort of conversation with somebody, okay? Now, is that the right thing? Absolutely effing not. And we've got to be better at recognizing that we have to be the standard. Everybody, we all need to be accountable to this conversation that we're having and how we're having it. Again, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't, or that you don't have a right to, or that this space should never have something like this. No, it is absolutely imperative that we self-regulate. The more we cannot self-regulate, the more we're going to get the government to regulate, right? The more that we can't do, the more that somebody else is going to do for us, and probably in a way that we don't like it. So stop being an idiot. Start being a decent human being. I bet you don't act that way in person. I bet. Man, all you trolls, what are you doing? Like, why do you act this way on the internet when you don't act like this in person? I'm pretty similar to how I act on the internet is very similar to how I act in person. I can be a little bit stupid for fun, right? I can troll. I can throw it out there. But there's a way to engage a conversation while trolling, but to be accountable for that conversation. I enjoy, going back and forth. And I think I have at least built enough respect with the people that listen and follow me and engage with me on social media, that as mad as I can probably make them, or as mad as they make me. I mean, let's get real. Like there's definitely, I'll give my boy Jason Cohen a shout out here. I have tremendous respect for him. We have very, very different political views, but we've always managed. We've not blocked each other. We're still friends. I know he still shows up on my posts. I still show up on his. And I think we always go out of our way to make sure that we know that we appreciate the conversation, even if like we're having the worst time at the moment, right then and there. We're still enjoying the company and the perspective, even if although he's made an impact on the way that I might present information, or what I should expect to have to come back and get from him at some point. Or like, as far as, if he's bringing it, I better be bringing it too. I think it's allowed both of us to have a conversation. Jason, I know you probably don't even want me to give you a shout out there, but cheers, brother. And he's not the only one. There's several people, and there's probably some people who troll me all the time that I'm not mentioning that I probably should. They've made me everything I am on the internet, for the record. But that's a different type of conversation. That's not the type of trolling, that I'm referencing. But it can always be, that's how it works. And so you can fall back on a personal accountability notice. You can be like, hey man, I do this. Why is this person getting all mad? I do this all the time. Well, if they're a stranger, how can they know that you do that all the time, right? Why should they take you seriously? We take social media so seriously, and we don't, right? How do you make sense of that, folks? How do you know when it's so serious, and how do you know when it's not? Because you can go have fun all you want, but the moment somebody else says something, boom, it is out there. It's so important. Oh my gosh, did you see what Trump tweeted? I mean, I think everything Trump tweets is a big deal. He's got one of the most followers in all the world, But just referencing the reason why we're calling this episode Donald Trump, right? I'm gonna get so many views. I can't wait to see how many views I get. Just name it Donald Trump. All right. Anyways, so blockchain cultural accountability within this space has to begin somewhere, folks. I really do my best. I do my best, especially in crypto. Not on my personal profile. I'm not talking about how I act, like, as far as if I want to post something on my account, that has nothing to do with how I present myself socially in crypto. And if you're not my friend, you can't see my profile. Keep that in mind. So for those of you listening are my friends, you might be like, oh, Joe, you talk about this all the time. I'm like, yep, I do. And so you talk about it with me, but we never talk about it on CCT or Bitcoin Radio, right? It's always a little bit more professional and respectable. Help me out here, folks. Like, if you are not doing your part, you could at least not add to the problem, right? I mean, at worst, just change the tone, change the way that you might say, I'm not sure about this project, or this project seems really scammy. Now, if it's BitConnect, obviously, but not every project's BitConnect, right? I mean, you can't judge everything off BitConnect. There's several companies that I can compare to BitConnect right now. But we don't have to have that conversation with folks, man. Like, it's probably not BitConnect. And just because a project failed didn't mean that they scammed you. Projects and businesses fail every day in Silicon Valley. Every day. Somebody's money got wasted. Not stolen, wasted. projects fail. You go raise $1 million. Well, guess what? If that's all you raised, you're probably behind. Doesn't mean you can't make it. But only raising $1 million sucks sometimes, right? Go raise $25 million and the project fails in 8 months. Obviously relative. If you're trying to build a space rocket, well, $25 million might as well be $50,000. But, as crypto scams go, let's try to differentiate between scam and bad business. Can we do that? Can we try to do that a little bit? I'm not going to keep everybody too long today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation. I know everybody's busy during the holidays. I'm not trying to go in there and push everybody around. So listen to my podcast, but we've got to do something a little bit different. We've got to make the space a little bit more welcoming, and we've got to be realistic. And being realistic doesn't mean that everything's going to fail. Let's give this a shot, folks. Work with me. All right. Hey, it's our job to take care of the cryptoverse. If I'm not going to do it, if you're not going to do it, who is? It's our job. We've got to all do our part. I appreciate everybody, WBTC. We'll see you soon.